It kind of depends on what exactly is that you want to study in depth about the Bible. But for those who don't know, a commentary is essentially like a cheat code in some ways to the Bible. It's an in depth explanation, verse by verse, sometimes even word by word, of different books and chapters of the Bible. I'm in seminary currently, and we use a lot of work. We do a lot of work with commentaries and things like that in studying the Bible. And I think what is helpful to remember is that commentaries are not reserved for pastors. They're not reserved for seminarians or for theologians. They're also available to just your regular old average Joe Christian. When I'm done with seminary, I will continue to read and consult commentaries because it's really helpful. You might have some ideas on how to choose helpful commentaries, because I think that there are some sources that are more helpful than others in terms of choosing commentaries. But that's just one thing that if you're like, man, I would really love to, I've read the book of, whatever, First Corinthians before, but I would love to hear a scholar explain what is actually going on here. What are some of the theological issues there? That's a great way to take another in-depth, one step deeper into not just reading the Bible, but a resource to study it. In terms of the biblical story in general, like how does Genesis connect to Jesus, connect to Paul, connect to the prophets, that kind of a thing. One of my favorite books on a basic level is the Jesus Storybook Bible, which is technically for kids, but it's pretty profound in the way that it takes Old Testament stories, but the kind of tagline for the Jesus Storybook Bible is every story whispers his name. And so it talks about how stories like Joseph are actually pointing towards Jesus and helps you to be able to create that frame of reference, to be able to see the fingerprints of, oh man, all of this is pointing to Jesus. All of this is about him. God has had this master plan from the beginning for that. So that's really cool. It's basic. I've read that devotionally before, just in the morning, read one more story from the Jesus Storybook Bible, and it's very theologically sound, but also very simply written. But if you're looking for maybe adult version of the Jesus Storybook Bible, kind of like broad theological treatment of, again, how does the Bible tell one big story? Knowing Jesus Through the Old Testament by Christopher Wright is a book that I read in seminary, and I was like, this is the adult version of the Jesus Storybook Bible, and it takes you a little bit more in depth, kind of talks about typology that you can find in the Old Testament, again, that points towards Jesus. So either of those two would be great Bible study specific resources that I would recommend.
Yeah, those are super. I would also, on the commentary side of things, if you're saying, I don't know where to start with a commentary, I don't know what the first one I should get would be, there's a series out there called the NIV Life Application Commentary Series. So NIV Life Application Commentary Series. All of those are great. I've probably read 20 of them, and they're just first-class, evangelical, best in their field types of authors that do exactly what Casey said. They do the verse-by-verse inductive study if you want to go deeper. I would say that's the second place I'd go to. The first place I would go to would be to just get a good study Bible yourself. So it's amazing. Like, I've been studying a study Bible for over 30 years now. I still have not plumbed the depths of what I can get out of my own just little study Bible. My favorite, again, is the NIV Study Bible. But any study Bible that has cross-references and notes. So notes are at the bottom of each page, and it just gives you cultural information, interpretation information, language stuff that you go, oh, that's really helpful to understand that hard verse. And then cross-references will say, here's another place in the Bible that's talking about a similar subject. So it'll bridge between Old Testament and New Testament, or, if it's an allusion to something that happened in the past or the future, it'll put it in there, prophecies, all kinds of stuff. You can really do that for the rest of your life and be just like, have that be the only tool you use. But that's where I would encourage everyone to start, because it covers the whole Bible. It comes with your Bible. It's there every day. It's just the best tool. Last little tip I would say is, if you're more of the video or podcast generation, my favorite resource is the Bible Project with Tim Mackey. Lots of people know about it, but if you don't, I would say there's an app, there's a website, there's YouTube videos, and you can get Bible themes, books of the Bible, 2-hour-long podcasts that go deep into a word study, you name it, they've got it, and it's a credible source. Tim Mackie has been a real gift to the evangelical community in this generation through that venue.